Representative Loretta Sanchez asked Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent 3 simple questions. Do you believe all Americans should follow tax laws? Yes. Should people who lie on tax returns be audited? Yes. Should people who break tax laws be held accountable? Yes.
Mr. Secretary, do you believe that all Americans should follow our tax laws?
Yes, Congressman.
Do you believe that people who lie on their tax returns should be audited?
Yes.
Okay, do you think that people who break our laws should be held accountable, our tax laws?
Yes.
Then she asked the question he could not answer. Why are you allowing President Trump to have complete immunity from being audited? Bessent said he could not comment because of ongoing litigation. Sanchez asked him to name the case. He could not. She cited a Supreme Court ruling that ongoing litigation does not bar congressional testimony. He still would not answer. She asked who counts as Trump's family for this immunity. Children? Grandchildren? He told her to call the Justice Department.
Who counts as Trump's family for the purposes of this immunity? Is it his children, his in-laws, his grandchildren, his second or third cousin, his great-great-grandchildren? Do you know the answer to that question, Mr. Secretary?
Again, I imagine you have the Justice Department phone number. I would suggest you call them.
Then Sanchez laid out the damage. Inflation rising faster than wages. Gas at all-time highs. Groceries up 3.2%. She called this the most corrupt Treasury Department in history. Bessent called her slanderous. He said she was long on hot air. He did not answer the question. Because there is no good answer. Let's watch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary, nice to have you back before our committee. Mr. Secretary, do you believe that all Americans should follow our tax laws?
Yes, Congressman.
Yes, good. So do I. And do you believe that for those Americans who break our tax laws, they should be audited or held accountable?
Well, I think there are two things there. An audit is not a result of breaking the law.
Yes or no? Simple question.
Well, no, it's not a simple question. It's
okay,
a two-part
then
question.
let me break it into two. Do you think they should?
If you're asking me,
please don't
should every
interrupt
taxpayer
me.
be audited?
Please answer that. I came here for answers. If you came here to waste time, I'm going to try to make sure you don't do that. Do you believe that people who lie on their tax returns should be audited?
Yes.
Okay, do you think that people who break our laws should be held accountable, our tax laws?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Very simple. Not a hard question. I'm glad we agree. So why is it that you are allowing President Trump to have complete immunity from being audited?
Again, I'm going to have to refer you to my previous statements. And
what was your previous statement, sir?
That I am unable to comment on any of the ongoing litigation.
Okay, can you name the ongoing case concerning President Trump's immunity from audit?
Sorry?
Can you name?
There are 3 cases.
Can you name them, please?
That are out there now, and I will be happy to get back to you on those, because again, I am not a lawyer.
Okay.
We are represented by the DOJ.
Great. You said that you can't because there's ongoing litigation. You'll get me the name of the ongoing litigation, because the only ongoing litigation that I know of is surrounding the $1.8 million slush fund, which has already been suspended. The fact is that the judge's ruling in the litigation that references that slush fund only addresses the anti-weaponization fund. It doesn't even address Trump's immunity from audit. So I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the judge's order in the Floyd versus Department of Justice case.
Without objection.
Thank you. Now, Secretary, you said you're not an attorney. Is that correct?
Mercifully.
Okay, well, I am, and I'm actually proud to be an attorney and know the laws, and I know how to read a judicial ruling. Furthermore, I know that since 1962, the Supreme Court has held that ongoing litigation does not prevent someone from testifying in a congressional hearing. So once again, I'm going to ask, why are you allowing President Trump and his family to have complete immunity from being audited?
Again, since you're a lawyer, you will understand that The U.S. Treasury and the IRS are represented by the Justice Department and the acting Attorney General.
Yes, but I just mentioned a Supreme Court case that doesn't bar you from testifying. It's pretty clear to me, though, however, that you're not interested in answering questions. You're interested in arguing. Let me ask you this question. If President Biden amended a prior tax return and claimed that he was owed $1 billion, do you think that that would be audited, or should it be audited?
I'm not going to talk about any
because you're not really here to answer questions. I don't understand why you wouldn't audit that, and I don't understand why you wouldn't do the same for President Trump. So the ruling by the Justice Department,
do you have specific knowledge of an audit of President Trump?
Excuse me. It's my time. You're not here to ask me questions. I'm here to ask you questions, and hopefully you're here to try to answer some of them. I'm curious to know who counts as Trump's family for the purposes of this immunity. Is it his children, his in-laws, his grandchildren, his second or third cousin, his great-great-grandchildren? Do you know the answer to that question, Mr. Secretary?
Again, I imagine you have the Justice Department phone number. I would suggest you call them.
I'm not the one that runs the Department of the Treasury or that oversees what is happening with this immunity has been granted.
I'm not the one either. We follow the instructions of our lawyers, and we obey the law, Representative.
I hope that you're proud of your performance today, Mr. Secretary, because
I hope you get some social media
clips. I think it's pretty
clips.
safe to say that this is probably the most corrupt Treasury Department in our nation's history. And while you dance around questions to protect Trump, Americans are suffering in Trump's spiraling economy. Inflation is now rising faster than average hourly wages. Gas prices are at an all-time high with the war in Iran. The cost of groceries has risen 3.2% over the past years, and prices on most goods have gone up because of Trump's tariffs. So I don't see how you could call that anything other than a failure of the most corrupt Treasury Department in history.
Your time has expired, Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you. My time has expired.
Secretary, I would love for you to respond to the accusations at your department, because I think you are due the opportunity for that.
The Congresswoman is slanderous. She has nothing but the unsubstantiated opinions, and I will not stand for that. There is nothing corrupt. We move at the highest levels, and just because she cannot get the answer she wants, if she would like to give me facts, she seems long on facts, short on facts, long on hot air, and I will not stand for that. Yeah, that's great.
Mr. Arrington is recognized.
Disgrace to make a remark like that.
Apparently, my colleagues had a sudden interest in the rule of law. I wonder if you asked her if she thought illegal immigrants should be detained and deported or caught and released, what the answer would be.
Well, and Congressman, and two, on inflation, I am not going to take firefighting advice from an arsonist.
Well, Mr. Secretary,
they torch the American people.
Mr. Secretary, maybe we ought to ask the question:
inflation.
should the sons of presidents who have multiple felony convictions, should they be held to the same standard of the American people in terms of crime and punishment? I wonder what the answer to that question would be. Let's not veer off. Apparently, wages and take-home pay aren't the only thing up in this country. Irony and hypocrisy is at an all-time high among my Democrat colleagues.
Now we see why someone leaves California every 2 minutes.
And that hypocrisy and irony starts with questions about price increases. It was the failed economic policies, one self-inflicted failed economic policy after the other, that created the worst inflation crisis in a half a century.
This hearing is a masterclass in how to watch a witness refuse to answer questions and a member of Congress refuse to let him get away with it. Representative Loretta Sanchez came with a strategy. She asked 3 simple yes or no questions. Do you believe all Americans should follow tax laws? Yes. Should people who lie on tax returns be audited? Yes. Should people who break tax laws be held accountable? Yes. 3 yeses. Then she asked the question that Bessent could not answer. Why are you allowing President Trump to have complete immunity from being audited? Bessent's first defense was ongoing litigation. He said he could not comment. Sanchez asked him to name the ongoing case. He could not. He said he would get back to her. He said he was not a lawyer. He said the Treasury and IRS are represented by the Justice Department. He did not name a single case, because there is no ongoing litigation that prevents him from answering. The only litigation Sanchez knows about is the one surrounding the $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, which has already been suspended. That case does not address Trump's audit immunity. Bessent is hiding behind a legal excuse that does not exist. Sanchez then used her legal training. She cited the Supreme Court. Since 1962, the court has held that ongoing litigation does not prevent someone from testifying in a congressional hearing. Bessent's excuse is not just weak, it is legally false. Sanchez called him out. It's pretty clear to me that you're not interested in answering questions. You're interested in arguing. Then Sanchez asked the hypothetical. If President Biden amended a prior tax return and claimed he was owed $1 billion, should that be audited? Bessent would not answer. Because the answer is yes. And if the answer is yes for Biden, it should be yes for Trump. But Bessent cannot say that. So he says nothing. Sanchez then asked who counts as Trump's family for the purposes of this immunity. Children, in-laws, grandchildren, second cousins, great-great-grandchildren? Bessent told her to call the Justice Department. He is the Treasury Secretary. He oversees the IRS. He should know. He does know. He will not say. Sanchez's closing statement was devastating. She called this the most corrupt Treasury Department in the nation's history. She laid out the economic evidence. Inflation rising faster than hourly wages. Gas prices at an all-time high because of the war in Iran. Groceries up 3.2%. Prices on most goods up because of Trump's tariffs. She said that while Bessent dances around questions to protect Trump, Americans are suffering. She did not raise her voice. She did not interrupt. She stated facts. Bessent's response was not a defense. It was an attack. He called her slanderous. He said she had unsubstantiated opinions. He said she was short on facts, long on hot air. He did not answer a single question about Trump's audit immunity because he cannot. There is no good answer. The truth is that the administration has given Trump and his family blanket immunity from tax audits. That is corrupt. That is unprecedented. That is indefensible. So Bessent attacks the messenger. Then Representative Jody Arrington jumped in. He did not defend Bessent's non-answers. He attacked Sanchez's home state. He said California loses someone every 2 minutes. He called Democrats arsonists. He accused them of creating the worst inflation crisis in half a century. He did not mention Trump's audit immunity. He did not explain why the president should not be audited. He changed the subject. The pattern is clear. When a Republican official cannot defend the administration's actions, they do one of 3 things. They hide behind legal technicalities that do not exist. They attack the questioner. They change the subject. Bessent did all 3. He claimed ongoing litigation. He called Sanchez slanderous. He told her to call the Justice Department. He did not answer. Arrington did not even try. He went straight to California and inflation. The underlying issue is not about procedure. It is about accountability. The IRS audits millions of Americans every year. It audits teachers and truck drivers and small business owners. It audits people who make mistakes on their returns and people who deliberately cheat. It does not give anyone blanket immunity, except Donald Trump. The Treasury Secretary cannot explain why. Because there is no explanation. The only explanation is corruption. The administration is protecting the president from the consequences of his own tax filings. That is not how the rule of law works. That is how autocracies work. Sanchez did not get an answer, but she made sure the question was asked.